Greetings YouTube, Sega Zombie here and welcome back guys to another video. And as promised in my channel update and pickups videos, I'm going to be focusing a lot of my content on playing games. Yeah, believe it or not, playing retro video games, because that's what it's all about. And for those of you that have been watching my pickups and channel updates over the last year or two, will know that I've been chasing the most nostalgic Nes games. The games that me and my brother played back in the day. Now, we didn't get a Nes in our family until my youngest brother, who's considerably younger than me, got a Nes. And by that time, I already had a Mega Drive and an Amiga. And that's what I was rocking with. But my younger brother, he got a Nes. And some of these games will be influenced by games that I was playing on other systems that he grew up watching me play, and games that I was influenced and I would go out and buy, because at the time Nes games were pretty cheap. You'd pay £40 for a Mega Drive game, and a lot of the Nes games, yes, some of the big Nintendo first party games were still full price, but a lot of them were under £20, so we used to pick them up quite often. And this is going to be my top 10 of my most nostalgic Nes games, but ones that I physically own. There's still a few that you're going to be screaming at the screen at, saying, why haven't you included that one? Again, this is my own personal nostalgic trip, guys. Please, in comments down below, do you share some of these of what I'm going to show? Or have you guys got a completely different nostalgic Nes list? Let me know in comments down below, guys. I'm going to address the first game in the room. Now, this is playing through my Retro Freak console because my Famicom no longer works. I got fed up with unreliable Nes's, so I'm sticking with the Retro Freak on my main TV. It's good enough for me. If it was Sega, not a chance. But Nintendo, I don't mind playing it this way, guys. And it's convenient. You know, it's convenient for the family to sit down and blast some Nes. So the first game up is Super Mario Bros. 3. Now, my brother, he got the Nes Turtles pack. So he got the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles pack for Christmas, and it came bundled with Super Mario Bros. 3. So that Christmas, me and him played those two games to death. Now, unfortunately, I don't have Turtles yet in the collection. It's not a game that I've got nostalgia for the right reasons, though. It was a frustrating game. You had to know which turtle to pick on what level. And yeah, it was a frustrating game. We was all expecting the arcade game, which did come later, you know, a beat 'em up game, but this was more of a action platform style game. But this game really did blow us away. We spent the whole Christmas holidays playing Super Mario Bros. 3, guys. This is all complete in lovely condition. This one actually came through the Retro Realm shop. As you know, guys, I'm forever battling my demons when people bring this beautiful retro in. Sometimes I just can't say no, and it comes home with me. And this is one of those times. So Super Mario Bros. 3, what else is there to say about that game? It's a tremendous platformer. Still holds up today. One of my favourite platformers of all times. Only bettered, I would say, by Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. I absolutely adore that game. I'm a Sega guy, you guys all know that. But I would say Super Mario World is probably the best platformer I've ever played. Sonic is close. But I believe they're very different games. So yeah, first up we've got Super Mario Bros. 3. Next up, this was one inspired totally by me, because at the time when my brother got his Nes, Batman was huge. The Tim Burton Batman film. I think they were then gearing up to do the sequel, Batman Returns, and Batman. I've had to own Batman and play Batman and all the different games on every platform back in the day that we had. And in later years, it's nice to track down and play every version of Batman you can. This is loosely based on the on the movie, shall we say. It's a great platformer, though. It's an absolutely awesome game on the NES. It's actually music, awesome gameplay, gets really solid at times as well. I like the different parts, the different weapons you get throughout the game. A really solid Sunsoft game. Sunsoft at the time were just banging out ultra classic games. Really good games for the time. Again, this was heavily influenced by me. I loved Batman on the Amiga at the time, and obviously on the Spectrum. But that is more true, I would say, to the movie than what the Nes game is. It's a very different game, but a really enjoyable game, a great game. So we have Batman. These are in no particular order, guys. No particular order. This is just my 10 nostalgic ones in the collection so far. This one's a recent purchase. I think I showed this on my last pickups, and that is Bure Fighter. I think I also had this one on the Game Boy back in the day. It might be the Game Boy I'm thinking of this game. It's a shoot 'em up where you control this dude right here, and you can rotate 360 round with your fire, and it's kind of got a platform element to it. A really tricky game, guys. It's not an easy one to play. Definitely not an easy one to master, I wouldn't imagine. And I can remember this fondly. We picked this one up, me and my brother. I think my brother picked this one up back in the day. Got it out of Woolies, like out of their basket bin, and it was like a really cheap game. So that's why we picked up. But I'm sure this had enough impact on me on the NES that I got this on the Game Boy. So, Bure Fighter. Didn't think this through. Are these going to stay standing? This one I definitely showed on my last pickups video. Really chuffed to get this one. I picked this one up from a local pawn shop. A bit like Cash Converters, that style of thing. And that is Rescue the Embassy Mission. Now, my brother purchased this game because I, at the time, was playing a game called Hostage, or Hostages, on the Spectrum and the Amiga. And I can remember my brother sitting there watching me play this game. So he went out and purchased it for the NES. It's a great little game. Sort of like, it's kind of broken up into sort of mini games, and if you will. The levels are very different. You'll have a level where you've got to avoid the spotlights to sort of get into the building, get into position. And then you've got a sniper level where you have to target and sniper the villains in the windows of the embassy and not hit the innocent people. Isn't there a level when you actually get into the embassy? It kind of goes a bit like first person perspective. But yeah, Rescue the Embassy Mission. Can you... Guys, remember this on the NES, or do you remember it on the Amiga or any of the micros? Hostages, it was known on the micros. Great little game, that one, guys. Really, really pleased to add that one into the set. And again, like Batman, this game I absolutely adore it on the ZX Spectrum. So you guys are going to know what we're talking about. Those of you that follow my Spectrum Spectaculars. And that is RoboCop. We adored RoboCop on the Spectrum. It played so much. I still play it loads today. And I can remember rushing out paying full price for RoboCop on the NES. Surely the NES version of RoboCop was going to be better than the Spectrum version. Unfortunately not. It plays very much like a NES game to me. More of a platformer than a run and gun walk along shooter. Still an enjoyable game. Not the prettiest looking games on the NES, but it's got the feel of RoboCop. That's what matters at the end of the day. And heaps of nostalgia for it. I do actually have RoboCop 2 in the collection, which I picked up at the London Gaming Market, I believe, as well as this one. It was a London Gaming Market last year. Might have been the year before. Yes, it was the year before, because I can remember Alex Nintendo Arcade, or Alex Arcade Archive, should I say, was with me at that one, and his influence, his Nintendo influence, got me buying some NES games. And yeah, RoboCop, one of the first I picked up on this nostalgic hunt. And yeah, it's a good game. It's a solid game. Is it as good as the Spectrum version? Nah, but it's good. Not as good as the Game Boy version, neither. That one follows very closely to the Spectrum release of RoboCop. Next up, we're going right back now. We're going right back to, I can remember queuing with my mates in Debenhams. Remember Debenhams, the department store? Unfortunately ceased trading a few years ago now. But yeah, Debenhams on their top floor. Here in my local town, it was a free-floored department store. And on the very top floor was the toy department. And I can remember on a Saturday queuing with all of my friends to queue to play the NES. Now, this was before my brother had the NES. My brother would have been a baby at the time. This was the 80s. And me and my mates dreamed of owning a NES, but they were so expensive. You know, Micros was where it was at. Everyone had Spectrums, Commodore 64s, Amstrads, BBCs. No one really I knew at the time had a NES because they were just so much money for the games. And the game I would queue up for is this one, and that is Rush and Attack. Quite a few games that we used to queue up and play. I remember one of them being Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, but I think that was later on. It wasn't on the launch, I don't believe. I could be wrong. Let me know in comments down below, guys. Was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out a launch game? I don't believe it was. Russian Attack definitely was, or there or thereabouts, as well as Kung Fu Master. That's another one I need to get in the nostalgic set, because like I said, me and my mates would queue to play this. Everyone would be queuing to play the original Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, whereas me, I wanted to play Russian Attack. And again, the influence of the Micros was Green Beret. This was Green Beret, guys. The original arcade Konami machine was in my local seaside town. We used to play that an awful lot. So obviously I adored the Spectrum port of Green Beret. I thought it was brilliant. And I also really loved Russian Attack, the NES version of, I always call it Green Beret, guys, as Green Beret. What a game. Again, this is in fantastic condition. But please, I'll leave a link below, guys. You need to go and check out Ginger Hippy Gaming's channel if you haven't subscribed already, and go and check out his restoration of Rob the Robot and the original display piece. Now, when we used to queue and wait in Debenhams, there would be like a kiosk, like a player choice 10 type kiosk, where you would get so many seconds to play each game. And while you was waiting, they had this big huge glass display, domed glass display, and it would have a NES set up with Rob the Robot, a couple of games, the Zapper, and it was all displayed like it was a toy, because that was how Nintendo came back, well, not came back, but introduced themselves pretty much to the West after the massive computer crash in America in the early 80s. No toy stores would touch computer games, computers in general. So Nintendo were very clever and kind of set out Rob to Robot to be more of an entertainment and a toy, and that's how they got their way back into the market and into the toy stores. And you need to go and check out Ginger Hippy Game and 42's restoration of one of those. He has salvaged one. He's been doing it up. What a fantastic video. I can't wait for the final part in what he's done with that. But he's cleaning it. It's absolutely covered in 30 years of pigeon shit. Oh yes, pigeon poo all over it. But go and check out, guys. I'll leave a link down below for that. But Russian Attack. Guys, let me know your memories of Russian Attack Green Beret. A fantastic game. Whee, we nearly went there. Nearly, but not quite. Next up, a game me and my brothers played all the time. We used to literally fight over this game. And that is Blades of Steel.
Face off. Fight.
Now, back in the day, ice hockey games were massive. They really were popular. Any sport game really was popular if you could have two-player and you could battle your friends and your brothers. And Blades of Steel, loved it. I loved the little intro, the sampled speech of Blades of Steel used to come in, and the fighting where you would, you know, chuck down your hockey stick and start punching each other. A cracking game, Blades of Steel. Absolutely fantastic game. Probably one of my most nostalgic games here, I'd say, for the NES is Blades of Steel. Another one, again, was a kind of like a Christmas time purchase, I remember. Again, I think from a sale. And that is another Sunsoft game. Another movie and license game, and that's Gremlins 2. Now this game plays absolutely wonderful. Again, this was a game I had to get from the London Gamer Market as soon as I see it. Again, one of the very first games I picked up. Still had the price on it. That was what I was picking, guys. But yeah, in fantastic condition this. I paid good money for this one, but I wanted it mint this. Lots of memories of this game. I don't think it's a game we ever finished though. It gets quite challenging, but it's like a top-down platform game. Again, very loosely based on the film, I would say. But a really fun game. Beautiful graphics for the time. I remember really being quite blown away by the graphics of Gremlins 2. But let me know, guys. Did you play Gremlins 2, the new batch? A great game, that. There's going to be another Mario game. And this is a Mario game that, at the time, I remember really liking because it was so different. And that is Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah, I got this one, again, not that long ago, and it was off Facebook, off the group GGG. The guy done me a fantastic deal on this, so I thought this has got to go in the collection, because I have a lot of love for this game back in the day. It wasn't until many years later I discovered, or like most of us now know, that this wasn't originally a Mario game. It was a very different sequel, which I think is known as the Lost Levels now. I'm not sure. You guys know I'm no Nintendo expert. I know that the original was released, but this was another game that they reskinned for Mario. And I loved the fact that you could play as the different characters. You could play as Princess Peach, Super Mario, obviously Mario, Luigi, and Toad, and they all had their different abilities. And that was one of the first platform games I ever played where you had to choose wisely your character. Just made this a really intriguing game for the time. We kind of take it for granted now, that sort of gameplay, but back then I'd never seen that before in a platform game. Mario really doesn't want to sit. It's going to be awkward, isn't he? You're going to sit there, Mario. I think he's going to sit there, guys. And then finally, the last game for my nostalgic top 10 NES games. And it is Castlevania. Has to be Castlevania. This was the game I was so most envious about. It wasn't until into the 90s that Sega finally got a Castlevania game on the Mega Drive. And up until that point, I would always borrow my brother's NES to play Castlevania. Again, this was a game that I can remember playing paying full price for. I played this game around a mate's house. He introduced me to Castlevania back in the day, and I can remember falling in love with this game. I can't say I got on with the sequels so much on the NES, so I've got really no interest in getting those, but the original Castlevania, what a game. I can remember again when the Super Nintendo coming out, Castlevania 4, just falling back in love with this franchise. I really did. And sort of like every generation has had an awesome Castlevania game. I'd love to see a modern Castlevania game done, maybe like Symphony of the Night, something like that, a new game. Come on, Konami. It's been too long, because every generation back then, every new console generation, every console pretty much got a really good Castlevania game. I've got a lot of fond memories for the 2 Castlevanias on the Game Boy as well, the DS Castlevanias, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation was an amazing game. And Castlevania, is it Dracula X? Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine. That was one of the first games I hunted down when I was on my pursuit for the PC Engine games. Absolutely fantastic franchise, guys. There we go. Lots of memories there. So many memories in these top 10, guys. I want to know what your top 10s are. Please, if you're liking the content, the algorithms are not being kind to my channel of late. So please, if you're liking the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you like the video, please hit that thumbs up and share. Until the next time, I'm Sega Zombie. Goodbye.
Sega Zombie. Sega Zombie.